The Welsh Show is proudly sponsored by Music Wales, Wales' premier music company.
Hello and welcome back to The Welsh Show.
Now, Robert, I've been watching Carpool on the internet. What a great concept that is.
Oh, it was odd, wasn't it? I mean, hopefully I will do more, but it was just an experiment really coming out. A lot of it came out of the camera boys on Scrap Heap, because we use these things called, I call them lipstick cameras or suicide cameras. So they'd strap them to the machines that we were testing, and if they got mashed up, it wasn't the end of the world because they weren't that expensive. And they were these little, tiny little cameras that were literally the size of a lipstick with a wire and then a little box that they would try and protect the box. That was the expensive bit. And so I found out where I could get those, and it was really a lot to do with them sort of nerding about in the lunchtimes, going, well, you could get the FX65.3 if you plug that into the main socket unit, and I would hear nothing. But eventually I did. So I had two very small cameras in the car very early, and I started out with my children and my wife trying, to see if it worked and how long the cameras would run for and if the batteries would run out and could you hear it and all that. So lots of experimental ones, really revealing about a marriage. There was a long video of Judy driving me into London. And it just tells you everything, because you don't see when you're driving, and that's really what gave me the clue. You don't necessarily, like we're talking now, when you're driving, I'm looking that way, you're sitting there looking that way. So it seemed to lend itself to a lot more relaxed conversation. And also, I could get people in the car that were normally busy. I mean, Stephen Fry's a great example. If I'd said to him, please come on my chat show I'm doing in my car, there's no way he would, even if he wanted to, he wouldn't have that. But he was having to go from BBC Television Centre to the South Bank Studios in London anyway. He'd either go in a cab, he'd walk, he'd catch the bus or something. And I said, well, I'll give you a lift. And he got in the car. And that show is that lift. There's no editing in that. That is exactly the length of time it took to get in there.
It's an incredible list of celebrities that you've had in the car.
Yeah, it has been extraordinary. I mean, Sir Patrick Stewart, who doesn't live that far from me, and I just did not believe he'd do it. I sort of turned up at his door, he just got in. We drove down the post office. He got milk and a newspaper, but I think also his pension. Shouldn't say that. But, he's entitled to one.
Absolutely. I mean, I know what you mean about it sort of lending itself to being quite open, because, I mean, of course, I spent so much time with you, I can just chat away anyway, because you can't see the cameras. Yes. I kind of forgot they were there, and was possibly a little more honest than I might have been.
Particularly in your local neighbourhood, where your mum will know more or less everyone that you mentioned.
Yes. Yeah. Mum, if you're watching this, don't watch Carpool.
Don't watch Carpool, Mum. Don't watch it. But it has been a real joy, and I mean, the occasional mistakes I made to a celebrity that I won't name, who was lovely and did the show and was really nice, I said, and he was talking about the idea of it, and I said, well, the idea is to get kind of, celebrities and comedians and interesting people. But I didn't mean it in that way. Right. Came out wrong. I was talking about like engineers, because I did have quite a few engineers and scientists and neuroscientists and psychologists and all. I tried to sort of vary it between them. So brilliant. That was a bit of a boo-boo. I mean, they took it well, but they didn't let it lie.
Have they let it lie yet?
I had a tweet from this particular person a few weeks ago that said, brackets, not an interesting person, close bracket, at the end of it, are you going to be da-da-da? So he's remembered. Anyway, so, I mean, hopefully I will do more. It's really, and it's one of those weird shows that, it got sponsored by a car company, and then it went on the telly, which I really didn't want it to do. It does sound odd, but it was always meant for the internet, and that's where it worked, and that's where most people watched it. So the television versions were sort of squashed down and had to fit in the format, and that, because some of the shows on the internet are 45 minutes long, some are 12, because that's the nature of how they were. So you didn't have to, you've got that freedom of not having to sort of fit it into a rigid format. But.
Yeah, and that's why it was so lovely, because it was,
yes, as long as yes, yeah.
Brilliant.
Not at all, it was a fluke.
He's really clever, and he's quite a nice bloke.
Yes,
Not Now, back to normal, proper telly. Do you ever watch the BBC One show, The Voice?
I have seen it. I'm not a big fan, so I haven't followed it closely.
Because the Welsh, I have to say, the Welshies do quite
well. Well, that's the one thing I've heard is how well the Welsh do at The Voice.
Yes, I mean, it's not just because Tom Jones is one of the judges.
No.
Because you met Elise from Gleneath.
Elise Evans came in last week, and absolutely lovely. And of course, this week you got to meet the one and only Rasgsy.
Rasgsy from Yabba Dabba Dare, who's got a cracking voice. His voice is so strong that when I interviewed him on Radio Wales, he actually broke the microphone. So
wow.
He's also a great character. Have a look at his banter with the judges here.
Take me back to the start of that performance. That was brilliant.
Thank you very much.
What's your name?
Rasgsy.
Rasgsy?
Yeah, as in scruffy jeans, Rasgsy.
Rasgsy. Oh, that's a nice name. Welsh, right? Where are you from?
Yeah, all the way from Aberdeen. Yabba whatever you want to call it. How come you didn't turn around? Is there anything
because I didn't turn around because I know that you would be better off with either one of those two guys.
Oh, right. Oh, I just thought it might have been something I did wrong, like, you know.
No, you did nothing wrong.
Oh, it is a tough one.
I'm sure. I mean, look, being Welsh, I'm sure you kind of came in going.
Like I said, I know you turned around first, and I really do appreciate the comments and everything like that. Like, you know, and you know, you're a fantastic artist.
Feels like we're splitting up.
Yeah, it does.
We're splitting up.
I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me. We just become different people and we want different things, like, you know. But I do really appreciate it, and I appreciate the compliments and everything like that. But I'd love to work with Tom, to be honest with you.
Absolutely,
So Rasgsy, your audition is on there in the background. Talk me through what happened.
Well, first of all, there's my mother. She's been told she looks like Paul McCartney. You're walking out onto that stage and you can't see anything other than 4 red chairs and the backs of them. And all you can hear is your footsteps because you can't hear the crowd, you can't even see them. And you're walking out and you just hear these footsteps. And then you wait for your cue. And if you notice, I'm like this looking for my cue, like, you know. And the hand comes down and off you go. And as soon as I started with the first line, it was a massive roar with the crowd, like, you know. All the gigs I've done, it was the biggest gig I've ever done, and the crowd was just massive. The roar was crazy, like, you know. And then off you go, like, you know. And I think it was after about 3 lines, Danny's chair turned around, like, you know, and I was like, hey, I'm through. This is great. This is, like, you know, it's fantastic. And off you go, like, you know. I thought, right, just give it some welly now, like, you know, and enjoy it, like, you know. And then I hit the big note on the end, and then Sir Tom turned around then, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. This is.
And then you decided to go with Tom Jones. Was it a case of the Welsh sticking together?
I always said, when I put my name down for it, I never expected anything. I just sort of turn up, I do my thing, you know, I play guitar, I sing. If people like it, great. As long as they haven't thrown any tin tomatoes at me, you know, especially in tins, because they tend to hurt. I'm all right, I'll go home, like, you know, so I never really expected anything. I thought I could go out there, I'll do this, and then I'll go and have a beer then, like, you know, and that's it, like, you know. But yeah, if Tom turned around, then it would be Tom Jones, because it's Tom Jones at the end of the day, like, you know, he's the King of Wales.
He's the King of Wales. And what's he been like to work with?
He's amazing, he is, to be honest. He's a nice guy, he's a down-to-earth guy, considering, you know, what he's done in his life. He really sort of takes the time to get to know you, and, you know, he gives you lots of really good advice when you know, when you sing in and whatever you want to do on the show and everything like that. So I can't fault him. He's a great guy. He is, like, you know.
Well, Rasgsy, good luck with the rest of the voice and with everything else you do. You've got a brilliant voice, and thanks for joining us on the Welsh Show. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, I do love Rasgsy.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah, real characters. I hope he does really well.
Yeah, we wish him well.
They only make boys like that in Aberdeen.
He is special. No, that's extraordinary.
Now, Robert, you're taking part in Comic-Con in Cardiff. I think it's the Motorpont Arena in August.
In August, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, they're kind of they're an amazing event. Those things. I get in trouble because I like chatting.
Right.
So, you know, and if there's a queue of people wanting autographs and there's somebody asks you something, I start talking to them, and then the organisers start to kind of chivvy and. So my queue is always long, only because it takes me half an hour to sign each thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we've got time for.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming to see us and entertaining us with your stories, as always. Do keep in touch with us. with tweets, emails. Have we got a Facebook page as well?
We have, I believe we do, yeah.
Excellent. Tweets at The Welsh Show.
And you can email us at info@thewelshshow.tv.
But in the meantime, we're going to leave you with Rasgsy and his lovely voice from Yabba Dabba Dare. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Come up to meet you and tell you I'm sorry. You don't know how lovely you are. Well, I had to find you and tell you I need you and tell you I'd set you apart. Well, tell me your secrets and ask me your questions. Oh, when we rush to the start, I'm running in circles, chasing our tails, coming back as we are. Nobody said it was easy. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. Oh, take me back to the start. I was just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling the puzzles apart. All questions of science.
The Welsh Show is proudly sponsored by Music Wales, Wales' premier music company.